Abram stood before the king, his hands raised high toward the vast, silent sky. The air was thick with the dust of battle, yet he refused the glittering spoils of war. "My reward comes from God alone," he declared, his voice steady. He had fought the bloody battle and emerged victorious, yet he surrendered every ounce of glory to the Almighty. In the profound silence that followed, the voice of God broke through the stillness. "I am your shield, Abram, and your exceedingly great reward." Even with such a promise, a quiet ache pulsed within his heart. He looked down at his empty, weathered hands and whispered, "But Lord, you have given me no child." God commanded him to be still, promising a lineage that would one day become a great nation. Abram believed, and in that moment of pure surrender, his faith was counted as righteousness. But when God promised him the land, Abraham looked at the powerful kings ruling the horizon. "How can this be?" he asked. God instructed him to prepare a sacrifice. As the sun dipped low, birds of prey began to circle the offering. Then, a sobering prophecy was revealed. His descendants would endure affliction in a foreign land for 4 generations before they would finally be delivered. The weight of the future pressed heavily upon the present. Time passed, and the silence of the promise began to weigh on Sarai. Desperate, she brought her servant Hagar to Abram, suggesting a shortcut to fulfill the divine word. Abram consented, moving forward without seeking God's counsel. When Hagar conceived, pride took root in her heart, and the household fractured. Sarai reacted with harshness, driving Hagar into the unforgiving wilderness. There, the angel of the Lord met the weeping woman, commanding her to return and submit. Hagar obeyed, but the peace of the home was gone. They had tried to force the hand of God, only to find themselves in a desert of their own making. Years turned into decades. The promise seemed like a fading dream until Abram reached the age of 99. Then, the Lord appeared again, his presence more terrifying and brilliant than before. The command was sharp. "I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be perfect." This was not a demand for flawlessness, but for total alignment. God was calling him to stop creating his own formulas and trust the divine timing. Abram fell on his face, overwhelmed as God expanded his very identity, changing his name and sealing the covenant forever. When God promised a son through Sarah, Abraham laughed in sheer disbelief. He thought of his 100 years and Sarah's aged body. Yet, God stood firm. "Isaac shall be the child of the promise," he declared. No more shortcuts, no more human logic. Only the appointed time of the Spirit remained. Abraham did not hesitate. On that very day, he moved with total, immediate obedience, performing the rite of circumcision for every male in his house. He had finally learned that while the flesh rushes to gain relevance, the Spirit waits. By choosing Isaac, Abraham finally stepped into the fullness of his calling, walking in perfect alignment with the voice of God.